My name is Sweleni. I'm basically a property sourcing specialist. In other words, I help property investors find investment opportunities or basically build their property portfolios. So you're seeing this, either you are on YouTube or you are basically on Google Meet with us. So Google Meet is if you want to be a bit more interactive and ask any questions or raise any other queries, or you are on YouTube if you just wanna, or you are okay with watching passively, or you're basically watching a recording of this live session. So what we are doing these few days is that we're going through a few of the deals that we have, and we're just pitching them, throwing them out there to property investors, so you guys can, number one, see how we work, see the type of deals that we currently finding, especially for the investors who want to build another stream of income, or who basically wants to invest Multilets. And of course, there's going to be Airbnbs coming in, but so far we're coming across a lot of our Multilets, and that's where you don't have to worry about the furnishings and whatnot. You basically just buy a property, do renovations there, and you basically put in long-term tenants. So yeah, if you have any questions, please just jot them down. I'm going to be pausing every now and then to ensure that you guys are okay and you're able to ask questions, and we can then have another Q&A session towards the end. I am going to try by all means to keep this short, because I do know that it's lunchtime. Some of you guys have to go back to work very, very soon. So I'm going to bear in mind that we started about 10 minutes late. So that means we're going to run up to about 1:40 to basically keep the 30 minutes, unlike yesterday. It became an hour. So the deal that we're going to be doing today, it's basically a multi-let property in Roodepoort. So the suburb is basically called Maraisburg. I wanna show you the vision. Let me just get you guys these links, because I wanna show you what is it that we currently doing. So the suburb name is Maraisburg. So Tembi, can you hear me there?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, perfect. So do help me out from your perspective before I dive into the whole numbers situation. Do help me out, please, with the area in terms of your perspective. What do you think of Maraisburg from an investor point of view?
Maraisburg. It's quite a clean area, and it's one of those still very nice areas in Joburg that are very close to the CBD as well. That's one part. And what I love about it as well, it still has those old buildings. The old buildings are much more intact than your new buildings that we have nowadays. So they still have the solid type of buildings in the area.
The bonds.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about it, mostly the buildings part of it, because I'm from a construction background. So they've got super solid buildings compared to what we are building today, about the area as well. And I know that as well. It is mostly families that live in the area, and it is an investor area as well, whereby you have investors coming into the area, but there's still a large amount of families that are still in the area as well. So it's more family orientated. So they are very aware, especially when it comes to the security part of it. They're very aware that they have to manage in the area as well. So yeah, for my side, what I've seen with Maraisburg is a very good suburb.
And I believe it's close to your clear water, ne? Your clear water more, your Cresta more, your Cresta rather, type of areas.
Type of areas, definitely.
Yeah. So this is the reason why I wanted to start here is because the first part, guys, we normally cover the area, and then the second part we then gonna basically cover the investment opportunity. So the whole thing of you can't buy in an area with buy a property, a deal, or an investment property in an area without basically having to understand it first, because you want to make sure that you're buying into an area where you're basically going to be getting your money back, or whatever vision that you have is actually going to be successful. Yeah. So I am bringing a Lightstone report, what do you call it, a TPN report for you guys to see. My network is quite slow now. It's just doing them things. So I'm just waiting for that to come through. Okay. So I see that they are area-related questions.
Yes, Jonathan. Jonathan is very much well aware of the West Rand, eh? He's very much well aware of what's going on that side. Definitely, Jonathan.
Yes, it's close to that. So I'm trying to pull up the map for you guys, because I want you to envision where this property is located. Yes, see, Jonathan loves the West Rand. A lot of investors love the West Rand, so I figured out. So we have sourced several deals that side, and trust me, they don't last very long. So we've noticed that you guys love the West Rand. Okay, so let me just show you, as I'm waiting for this to load, the TPN, let me show you the map in terms of where this property is located. All right. It's just that it's also a person's personal home. So I don't wanna kind of share too much until we are basically doing a little one-on-one chats about the property. So let me quickly then share my screen so you can see. Just a moment. I'm not sure if there's any of you guys who is aware of Maraisburg, who knows Maraisburg quite well. Share.
Is your network
So let me show you them.
being slow again? Are we having
Yeah,
problems
it's
with
just
electricity? Yeah.
yeah, I know. But no, we're fine. I think we're back now. My video on YouTube may be a little blurry, but at least I'm audible thanks to this horrible network. Okay, so what I've done, guys, I've opened what do you call it? I have basically opened, can I close this so that you can see a bit more? I've opened the map in terms of where the property is located so that you can basically be able to envision a bit better. Okay, so this is why did it disappear now? Okay. All right, so this is basically where Maraisburg is. The first is, I'm not going to tell you the exact house number because of privacy purposes for the owners. But the property is basically on this street. So as you can see, this area is basically close to your what do you call the streets? Your Western bypass, but at the same time, it's not about the crime and whatnot. And it's also close to your Cresta, as I said, your Clearwater as well. I'm just trying to zoom in so you can see. So here's Maraisburg. This is not helping me very much, you guys. Google is not showing me what I want to see right now. It's not showing me what I want to see right now. Show you TPN quite quickly because I know you have to go. So let me open this report. Please bear with me. My apologies. My network is just a little horrible. As you can see, it's quite slow. Tembi, I think Jonathan has some questions on the comment section, as I'm trying to
he's
work with this network.
He's actually commenting on the area itself.
Okay.
He's also saying Eastern North too busy.
Perfect.
Not a question. He's just commenting.
Okay. All right.
Florida seems to be loved a lot by investors. We hardly have a property that does not draw in a lot of investors if it's from Florida. Florida is loved a lot by investors. There's spacious yards. There's, I don't know why, but it seems like a lot of people also love to move when they move out of a certain area. Like your Cosmo. I've seen a lot of people when they move out of Cosmo, they go exactly into Florida.
Yeah. So let me just share that with you and be able to go through that, the map, zooming in, zooming out, showing you what is and what not due to time. But the process is more or less the same when I review the properties. I go through TPN. So TPN, it is basically a report for property investors that relates to the rental markets. Yeah. So there are several things that people look at, and due to time, I'm basically just gonna go through those which I feel like they are a bit more important right now. So the first one, it's basically seeing that in that area, it's basically an active area. So as you can see here, it is an active area. So that's the first part right there at the top. And this is one of a few of my favorites, which is basically now the fact that you're going into an area where other investors are. So as Tembi said, Maraisburg, it's an area that is, it has mostly homeowners. So it's not yet, can I say, overly congested by people who are doing your multi-lets where there's like a lot of rooms, perhaps like your Best Valley type of areas, So it's a bit more peaceful. So you're going to find that only about 25% of people there are property investors. You have property investors, but you don't have too much competition. So you're one of the first, few types of property investors who are getting basically into the area. Another little part that you can also look at, it's the payment profile for your tenants. So they break it down to basically say people who pay on time, it's about 60% of the people who are staying in that area or who are renting in that area. And they further break it down in terms of who normally requires grace period, who normally pays late, who normally pays partially, and the scariest one, which we always avoid, who basically normally does not pay at all. So they are saying that the good standing ratio, it's above 50%, which is that 72%. So this still is a good area because of those. And then we have the income part. So this can guide you in terms of income in that area, how much for freehold houses, how much more like less than 3-bedroom houses are going for this year, and how much your 3-bed houses exactly, how much are they going for this year. You can, if you like this is not accurate, because sometimes it happens and it's not accurate, you can also be able to go to your other like platforms, Property 24, Gumtree, OLX, even Facebook Marketplace for people who are looking for for properties to rent in Maraisburg to get an idea of that. The nice thing with our current property is the fact that it already has tenants, so you're not going to be estimating. You actually basically have an option of taking over those tenants. In other words, buying a property that already has cash flow. Yeah? So another little part that I wanted to cover, it is the property types. Yes, it's mostly houses, as Tembi said, with a few buildings and whatnot, but it's mostly houses, old houses, to be a bit more specific. So the structures are good, you know, they were built while everything was done properly, unlike today. But what I normally like to look at when it comes to here is figuring out what's going on in that area. Do people who are they people who are mostly renting, or people who are basically just, you know, normal home owners or whatnot? So this is now telling us that as much as there are a lot of people who are owning properties, let's say 44% or 43% of people who are owning properties, we have more people who are renting at 56%. So this confirms that you are not going to struggle in terms of tenants, and you're not going to be the first person. You're not going to be reinventing the wheel when it comes to taking over this property, for the fact that you already have tenants for the 3 outbuildings on this specific property. Okay. Another part is the population group. So population group, it helps you understand the different types of people who are staying there. So this basically tells us that about 52% of people who are staying there is Black people. We have about 26%, which is basically being colored people. And then we have about 16% being, you know, Black people. So it tells you the population. So that's the first part. You can break it down to basically the language, if you want that, which is a lot of English-speaking people, then Afrikaans-speaking people, and then basically the other languages, South African languages being Zulu, Setswana, and whatnot. You can even break it down to education, as you guys can see here. Yeah. Then it is then going to be the employment. So this is my second favorite. I'm going to share my first favorite when it comes to this report. So the employment part, it tells you what's going on with the employment rates in the area. If the employment rates normally in an area, it's huge, like your 20%, 25% and whatnot, you should be worried, because that automatically means probability actually, crime. So with this area, you basically have about, guys, 44% who are employed. 44% of people who are employed, and you then have your non-applicable ones. So these ones are interpreted as if it's basically your people who are owning businesses. So business owners, small business owners, medium, large business owners, entrepreneurs, basically. So that's like your 27%. And then they even break it down to say 18% of such people in this area are people who are either too young or too old. And then they are saying people who are either discouraged to work or basically are unemployed. That's basically 8%. So this is not even 10%. Yeah, so this means you have 10 with that area. People actually mostly go there to rent, and people who go there mostly to rent, or who are staying there currently, it's people who are working. Now you can break it down if you want to see where exactly are they working. Are they working in the formal sector, the informal sector, private trade, and all of those things? You are able to further look at that. Due to time, I'm not going to dive deeper into other things. We can just have that conversation when me and you we're having a virtual chat, and maybe when you're also viewing the property, should you want to go see the property, should you want to proceed. All right, so the annual income, so this one is my first favorite, because this one helps you understand how much people earning in the area. This one automatically, it tells me that there's a very nice distribution in terms of the income brackets. So you are able to choose who do you basically target based on how is your property structured. So if, for example, you're doing rooms, you know that your target is basically going to be The people who are earning 38,000 to 76 perhaps per annum, it's basically going to be people who are earning 19,000 to 38,000 per annum, for example. If you're targeting bachelors, you know that you're targeting people who are earning between 76,000 to 153 per annum, or those who are basically up to about 600,000, because the maximum is 600,000 in terms of the income brackets for people there. Now, these 600,000 people, these income brackets, they can even be people who can buy the multi-let property from you when you decide that, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I actually want to sell the property. Yeah. So this, as I said, I love very much because it gives you an idea in terms of, can these people actually afford my property? Yeah. So that is the very quick overview of how good Maraisburg is from an investor point of view, according to TPN. Yeah. All right, so what I'm then gonna do is that I'm then gonna show you guys the property. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys the property. Just give me a moment, please. All right, just give me a moment, please. All right, do you guys have any questions before we dive into the property? Do you have any questions that are related into the area? Okay, are you guys good? Shall we proceed? Okay. Right, so seemingly we don't have questions. All right, so let me just quickly adjust something. Just quickly adjust something for sharing. I see that this lady's info here, personal information. All right, so let me share the screen again so we can then have a look. Okay. All right. Right. Okay. Okay. So this is the information we've gathered on the property so far. So the property, to give you an overview before we get started, it's a 3-bedroom house. It has 2 bathrooms. It basically has 3 flatlets outside. The flatlets outside, they already have tenants. Yeah. So if you ought to buy it, you know that you already have 11,000 basically coming in from those outside flatlets. So automatically you have assistance in terms of your bond. And then the main house is the one that is going to require you to be a bit more creative. Yeah. So the property is on a 991 square meter type of land. Automatically, that does mean that you do have a bit more room to build. Of course, that is going to be guided by the municipality in terms of what are their restrictions in the property. But the nice thing, because of how we do things and the relationships that we've built, you are able to adjust the main house into, rather than being a family home, to being fully running multi-lets. Yeah. So for those investors who are going to be interested in this deal, I'm happy to sit down with you and show you exactly what do I mean by this, so you're able to make more of an informed decision. Yeah. So you're just going to send me a DM and then we can chat about it some more. But to give you an overview and an overall idea, the vision, and it's what I'm going to show you an example of exactly what this vision. So the vision is to convert the main house into several cottages. Yeah. So it's still going to be that main house. Inside the house, the rooms, they're going to be extended, converted basically into cottages, of which means if the room is a bit smaller, it's going to be extended, taking a little piece of the lounge, the living room and whatnot. And then each room is then going to have its own bathroom and basically its own mini kitchenette. So cottages around about that area, they're going for around about 3.5. So our contractor, our partner contractor, he basically said, you are going to be able to convert the main house into a minimum of 4 more cottages. Okay, so we can just sit down, as I said, and we show you exactly how that can go, how that can basically work. So if you ought to do that, you are going to be basically ending up with about 25,000 of income, because you now have 4 cottages inside and plus the other 3 cottages outside. So it's not going to be a house that basically has 7 cottages, where average it's basically 3.5 for each cottage. Okay, so you keep that in mind. Now some people may say, because I know you guys, you are basically investing in property, some of you for the first time, you are worried about basically some of the things. What I basically did was to show you that TEF is already doing this basically in Kensington. So the whole thing of converting the house into basically multiple spaces, they are already doing it with the investors that they're working with. So this house was basically converted into 6 units. They don't have many pictures here. So those whom we're going to be speaking to, I'm happy to share the links to this for you, so you can be able to check. You can basically even download basically this investor pack, and you can just go through everything and see how it's basically broken down, by TEF. And what do I mean when I say it? Basically, these units are going to be self-sufficient. Okay, so that's the vision, but that is going to require a bit of money in terms of renovations. Let me share the entire screen. Okay, Google Meet is not moving with me now. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay, so going back to where we were, so these are the numbers that I am just gonna quickly take you through, so you can basically understand what I mean. So this property, as I said, the main house can basically be converted into 4 bachelors, and the average for bachelors in that area is 3.5, as I said. There are 3 flatlets outside. So the 3 flatlets are already bringing about 11,000. So the 3.5 times 3 plus the 11,000, that takes you basically to 25,000 in total. Now the property, the owners, they were basically asking for about 1.35 million. The property is not distressed. It basically needs basic work. For example, the main house, you definitely need to paint it, of course, as people get out. For you to, yes.
1.395. That's asking price.
Oh, 1.395, ne?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the asking price is 1.395, okay, guys. That outstanding bond, Tembi, this is not the outstanding bond in it. This one has been, it doesn't have that much bond. It was basically bought in the mid 2000, and they never borrowed anything else. Just give me a moment. Okay, so the asking price is 1.395. Okay, the bond part of it all, they do not, they do owe a bond, but the money that they're asking for is basically going to be able to cover the bond and everything else. The market value for the property, it ranges basically between 1.1 million, which in this case, it's not going to be 1.1 million because the property already has cottages outside. And then the maximum value, it's 1.480 million. So this is based on Lightstone. This Lightstone report, you are going to basically get access to right here, so that you can also confirm basically the value that I'm talking about. And in this folder, you're going to see also the TPN that I was showing you. You're also going to see municipal statements for you to be able to confirm the other expenses in relation to this property. Now, this I can't share with you randomly. Please do it private me, that's so that we can be able to figure out how I can share this while we are considering the privacy, processing the privacy for the owner of the property. So that's the value of the property. Let me close that. And they this is negotiable, slightly negotiable. So they are so far comfortable with accepting 1.25 million rand. So that is basically a discount from 1.4 to the 1.2 million rand in terms of the market value. Or if you're looking at what they were asking for, it's a discount basically from the 1.395 to basically the 1.25. Yeah. So they are saying they're willing to have a chat further should an investor who is willing or who is a bit more serious basically come through. Now, I wanted to show you how the profitability parts of it all looks like. For those people who are like, okay, great, I see the area. I see what you're saying when you're saying you can convert the main house into cottages as the best strategy. But how much is this gonna cost me besides the purchase price? And also, is this even profitable? So in terms of how much is this gonna cost you, the contractor, our contractor basically quoted us at 150, excuse me, 150,000 to be able to do all of this work, including having the plans approved for you and basically doing everything in between. So this is still going to be a hands-free kind of a process. And this price, it's basically discounted. If you go to a typical contractor, for the renovations alone, they're going to charge you way more than this. If you go to a person who draws plans and submits them on the municipality, it's going to ordinarily take longer and they're going to charge you way more money. But because we have put in the structures where things are moving faster and you're getting a bit more discounts, this is basically why you are seeing this price. So this is only exclusive to investors who are buying properties through us. Okay. Now, the rental part of it all, I have broken it down for you this way. So let's say you do have the 150,000, you buy the property and you basically do the whole thing of adjusting the property, turning it into to cottages. This is how the income is going to look like. You can do this right away, or you can be able to do this later if you don't have this money up front, by the way. So if you do that, you are basically going to be collecting the 11,000 of the rental, basically from the outside, and you're also going to be collecting a bit the other money as well from the main house. Tell me, remind me, the property, the 3-bedroom houses in Maraisburg, how much are they going for again?
They range from 9K to 12K. That's where they range. Usually you get the 9K ones which have one bathroom. Usually it's around 9 to 10K. And then if you've got two bathrooms, it can reach 10, 11 to 12.
Okay. All right, perfect. Okay, so if you do if you basically do the conversion, this is how the numbers look like. So it's going to be the 25,000, guys. I've basically put in all the possible expenses for you in this little thing. So it's minus the bond repayments, it's minus the rates and taxes, the other expense, it's minus basically your utilities. So this is security and also insurance. It's basically minus a bit of what you call it, water. It's minus basically your management. And last but not least, it's minus your maintenance. So management, it's to pay somebody to take care of the property for you. I know some of you guys are based way like in areas that are further from Maraisburg. For example, I have investors, several who are looking into Gauteng, but they are based in Durban. I have some as well, several ladies who are based in Cape Town, but they're looking in Gauteng. So in that sense, in this situation, you're going to need somebody to take care of the property for you. And because we're a one-stop shop, we are able to do that for you as well. So Then you have maintenance. So maintenance is basically for keeping your property in tip-top shape. If anything breaks, you know that you're not diving into your own savings. You basically are able to just, you've been deducting some money from the rental income, which is basically 5% of the rental income. So with all of this in mind, you are gonna be positive cash flowing. It's about 6,000. So this is basically the cash flow when it comes to this property. And we can sit down and we can just play around with it, see if you don't do the renovations, how would it look like for the property as is. As Tembi said, the main house could rent out for 10,000. 9 to 10,000 if you don't renovate it, you don't convert it to cottages. While basically the outside, the 11,000. So that means you are gonna be around about 20,000 to 21,000 here. Of income that you're going to be getting without having to do much work on the property, basically just painting it, collecting the rental until you have the money to do the little adjustments, basically getting the 4 to 5 cottages and being able to basically up your income as well. So I'm rushing because I'm worried about time, but let me stop here and just see where else can I go back to just polish or ensure that you guys are comfortable with the few minutes that we still have remaining. Do you guys have any questions so far in terms of the property?
Did you also explain, Swelen, that this is we've got the lists for the tenants that are in there. So you are able to actually buy it with the tenants, and the property is very well taken care of. So you don't have a lot to do with the property. It's very well taken care of. There's nothing that you need to do, and it's face break as well. So you don't have a lot of painting outside and all of that maintenance wise. And inside it's still well taken care of. So it's not a lot to do. So when Swelen is emphasizing if you want to maximize rent, you don't have to do that now. You don't have to do it now. You just have to take it the way it is. It already have tenants, 3 cottages outside, and then there's a house there. So there's multiple strategies that you can actually look into with this property. You can actually live there yourself and then rent out the cottages. That's strategy number one. Strategy number two, you just rent out everything. You rent out the house, you rent out the cottages. So strategy number three, we're just being thinking out of the box now. What we're presenting right now with dividing the property to make it bachelors, all of it bachelors. That's just strategy number three to maximize rent if you want to go that route. But all these strategies, they are all cash flow positive, all of them. Either way you want to do your own strategy, they are all cash flow positive. So you don't have to be doing anything with this property. Everything is in place.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, guys. And the fact that it's below market value as well, that's another given, especially for a property that doesn't need work, and that already has tenants. You know, I think it's a good deal. It's a good deal, especially in terms of the area. As you guys know, that Roodepoort, it's one of the very good areas that are also targeted by property investors. But let me hear from you. Are you guys okay? Do you have any questions or queries? Is there anybody who'd like for us to then have a separate sit down so we can take you through the deal a bit more? Because I am aware that I did not share the pictures with you. As I said, I'm protective of anybody who trusts me. So if an owner is trusting me with their property, I feel a little uncomfortable randomly sharing the pictures of their house. You know, just like with you guys, I wouldn't share your information randomly with the public. So we need to sit down so that I can be able to show you that information without that information basically being on YouTube, since we're basically streaming. Are you guys good? Okay. All right. Looks like everybody's good. I don't know if Tembi, you have anything else that you would like to add before we let everybody go. It's almost time to go back to work. Do you have anything else, Tembi, that you'd like to add?
Nothing. I don't have anything else.
All right. So for those who are here for the first time, last thing before we go, I wanted to also emphasize, guys, that we are a one-stop shop. We come with optional, by the way. If you already have such people for yourself, that's okay. But for investors who are starting out, to ensure that you guys feel safe and you feel taken care of, and we remove the stress of you having to go to multiple spaces to gather certain professionals, we come with everybody. So we have we have sorters who they basically find the deals. Lisa is here. Lisa is one of us. Utando left as well. He's one of us. Ulisa, we currently basically sourcing a deal in Voetbogie with her. So she knows Rudabot quite well. We also have some other deals, basically, for example, in Ridgeway and whatnot. So the deal funding part of it all is there, and then the applying for finance from multiple banks, so you can see which one is best. The what do you call it? The attorneys, the conveyancers who are trusted, where your transfer is going to be handled by them rather than some strange attorneys by the seller. No? And then we also have your contractors who are giving us discounts, hence that conversion parts being a little bit cheaper than how much they would ordinarily cost. And we have connections as well within the municipality for our investors exclusively, in terms of ensuring that for such properties that we're bringing, if you want to do any adjustments, we can have the plans approved quite quickly and a bit more affordable, like cheaply, if I can say. We also have, now that property is renovated, we have somebody who can manage the property for you, where we ensure that we bring in the good tenants, we vet them, profile check, credit check, whatever. And then on top of that, we manage the tenants for you in terms of your property. And we have the option as well of being able to sell the property for you, because that collaboration is basically with an estate agency called Gavshaw International. And last but not least, we have a property investment strategist, which is Gavin. We all work together and we are able to have those conversations with you, where we plan your property portfolio, whether you're buying under a trust, a company. If you want to turn your babies into trust fund babies, we're able to plan that out. If you want to buy a rental property with a vacation home that can become a rental property, pay it for itself and pay you some money when you're not staying there, we're able to structure that. If you want to plan for your 5-year-old to go to varsity in 10 years, 12 years, in terms of buying a property that can assist with that, we're able to basically have that factored on the plan as well. Yeah. So that's the last thing that I wanted to say. Other than that, you guys, thank you so much for your time. You have a wonderful rest of the day. If you are here on Google Meet with us or you are on YouTube and you're watching live, and if you're seeing a recording, I hope to be meeting you, all of you, basically soon. And yeah, you guys have a wonderful one. Bye.
Bye.